Can you guys hear the? Okay, so it's recording. And as usual, we do our prayer every day before the meeting. So this time, it has been a while since last time we were we used this prayer by Suzanne Wilson, this meditation. So let me know if you guys cannot hear anything or you have any problem, okay? Can you hear?
Sit upright in a chair, both feet on the floor. Yoga students may prefer the half lotus position, or you may need to lie down with a pillow under your knees to support your back. Let your hands rest in your lap, palms facing up. Close your eyes and mouth and breathe gently through your nose. With each inhale, visualize white light entering your body. And as you exhale, let all your breath out slowly, breathing in white light and breathing out all stress, anxiety, letting it go. Simply be in the now, the present, this very moment. Divine Source, thank you for blessing me with this day, with my life and all my many blessings. Thank you for giving me another day to be of service in this life and in this body. I ask that you cleanse me in divine white light, erasing all energy that does not belong in my auric field. Surround me in a beautiful, translucent, golden bubble of protection that is bathed in your divine white light, sealing in all my positive energies and good health, sealing out all negative energies, all ill health, all entities from lower realms, and I send white light to the lower realms so that only peace, love, and protection may enter in. I give gratitude for my spiritual team, spirit guides, angels, and my loved ones in the light. I send this light out to each of my loved ones on both the physical plane and the spiritual plane. I send this light out to all those in need of a physical, emotional, or spiritual healing. I connect with universal consciousness. I connect with all beings who are in meditation at this moment. I am eternal. I am one with Divine Source. I am one with all. Compassion guides all my thoughts, words, actions, and I trust that I will complete my greater work before I transition to heavenly home. with gratitude and joy. I am a child of God. And so it is.
Amen.
I love this meditation.
That was
Makes
a
me
beautiful invocation.
feel,
It was.
yeah, I love it. I really say thank you to Suzanne Wilson every day. She doesn't need to hear, but you know, she doesn't realize all the goodness that cannot come out of it, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so at some point, I decided to bring some information from some of the spirits that actually helped Allan Kardec in his codification, right, and putting his books together. And we first talk about the spirit of truth. And since we are talking about law of reproduction, pretty soon we'll be talking about law of love. So I thought about talking about Fenelon and bringing some information about this guy because Francois Fenelon, he was, sorry guys, can you hear my dog? She's going crazy. I hope it's not too loud. Okay, it's because the gardener is outside and she's, anyway. So Francois Fenelon was this, he was a French poet, writer, and as theologian, I guess that's how we say. He also became an archbishop himself. And he lived in between 650, 17 something. And just a sec, let me say something to her over here. Okay. And sit down. And so he today, Fenelon is remembered mostly by one of his famous book, that is this book over here called The Adventures of Telemachus, which was published between 1700, something like this. So in this book was very interesting because, it was 1700s, and Fenelon, while he was alive, he was talking about the dangers of power in government, in institutions, or any type of organizations. So other books from Fenelon, we have over here the Seeking Heart, education of daughters, because despite of the fact he was born in 1650, he also was very keen to defend the right of every children for education, like Pestalozzi, for example. So Fenelon, he was a reformer and defender of human rights. And that's exactly the link between Kardec and Fenelon. That's right there. Kardec translated, if you remember, we mentioned here before, Kardec translated a lot of Fenelon's work to German language. And because of that, Kardec became a profound admirer of Fenelon's ethics and high moral values. So while he was alive, I just copied and paste over here so I don't miss any kind of word because of my interpretation. I copied and paste a paragraph that Fenelon wrote in one of his books named Socrates and Alcibiades, something like this. And but he was defending universal human rights and the unity of humankind, because he wrote, a people is no less a member of the human race, which is society as a whole, than a family is a member of a particular nation. Each individual, each individual owes incomparably more to the human race, which is the great fatherland, than to the particular country in which he was born. As a family is to the nation, so is the nation to the universal commonwealth. Wherefore, it is infinitely more harmful for a nation to wrong nation than for family to wrong family. To abandon the sentiment of humanity is not merely to renounce civilization and to relapse into barbarism. It is to share in the blindness of the most brutish brigands and savages. It is to be a man no longer, but a cannibal. So we see a lot of references or messages from Fenelon in all the books from Kardec. There are several references, for example, in the Gospel according to Spiritism. And specifically, I got this one that he mentioned in the Gospel according to Spiritism, in the chapter 11, it's talking about the law of love. And he said, do not believe then in the sterility and hardening of the human heart, for if, even against its own will, it must give way to true love, which is like a magnet that is impossible to resist. Contact with true love revives and fertilizes the seeds latent in every heart. The earth, being a globe of probation and exile, will then be purified by this sacred fire. Then you will see practiced upon its surface the acts of charity, humbleness, patience, all these being the offspring of true love. So do not tire of listening to words of John the Evangelist, repeating these gentle words. My children, you must love one another. Beloved brethren, make good use of these lessons, because although it is difficult to put them into practice, the soul will reap great benefit from them. Believe me when I tell you to love one another and make the sublime effort that I ask of you. Then you will soon see the earth transformed into a paradise where the souls of the just may come for repose. So this is Fennel. I really love when we have notes or messages from him. This is him while he was alive. With that, we just okay, comment? No?
That was absolutely beautiful. And you cannot get a better message.
Yeah.
That you have to love
One another. Yeah. Yep. Agree. All right. So last time we talked about, so we are covering love reproduction and succession and development of human race is the topic. So the last question was 688. There are groups of humans today that are rapidly vanishing from the face of the earth. Will they eventually disappear? And the answer, yes, but this will only happen because others will have taken their place, just as you will also one day be replaced by others. So with that, we continue with the 689. Are there human beings currently living on Earth a new creation, or the improved descendants of prehistoric human beings. Any comment? Maria?
Hi, my internet isn't good, but I will try to participate, all right?
No problem. Thank you.
Okay. About this question, I want to comment that the spirits who come exiled from the Capella system in planetary exile were divided into 4 large groups, which the natural inhabitants of Earth could offer as a base. If I talk a word wrongly, you can correct me, okay, Anna?
No problem. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. And these 4 bases was Asia, to give way to the yellow race, Africa to the black race, Europe, the white race, and America, the red race. Over time, with the migration and spread of these races.
Migration and the spread of all the different races of the group. Yeah.
Called by Allan Kardec as Adamic races in his book, A Genesis. I
The
feel
Genesis.
Oh?
Yeah, so you're saying the Genesis, Allan Kardec called all these different races as Adamic?
Yes. I fear the current inhabitants of the orbs. It is interesting to note that which the misgeneration, that's correct, misgeneration?
The mixture between all these
people,
different, okay.
The physical bodies developed keeping the best that each race had to offer. And paving the way for the development of the physical bodies, which today are more improved to express our intellectual and emotional capacities.
Yeah.
Yes, if you need to translate for our friends, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, she's talking about we mentioned this before about Capella, this planet that was destroyed, and there was a lot of people being relocated from Capella system to this planet, to planet Earth, and those people, they were how can I say, assigned or in charge of forming all the different races that we have over here, right? Like the red race in Americas, the Asians, the yellow race, and so forth, people in Europe, etc., etc. And then with all the mixing between all these races, then we build up the body that, all these different DNAs, it's a soup of DNAs, etc. But the intent is really to, for each individual race to contribute with their best. Like the other day, I was watching this documentary, and they were saying that we all have Neanderthals genes, and it's so nice to know that their contribution was exactly in our immune system. They were so strong, they were very, exposed to all kind of different bacteria, etc., etc. That's exactly what their legacy to us. So that's what Maria was saying. All these different races, they were contributing to build up a stronger, stronger body. So today, we do have this body, and we can endure all the challenges, but also we have the opportunity to develop more and more our intellectual and also our mind and also our feelings. Josie, you have anything? A comment?
Yes, I'm just asking Tim the word I want to say about what Maria Jose is saying. It's very interesting. I'm going to check if we have this book in English, but we have a book in Portuguese called Exilados de Capela. How you say exilados, Luiz, Luana?
Exile.
Exile.
Exiles.
And
exile.
it's very interesting book. And another thing it's interesting, we are in this time now in Earth. When they left Capella, we call it exiled because you cannot keep going with the planet because you cannot reach the energy and the frequency you need to keep it there. We are going to the same time in Earth right now. So in the future, in another planet, somebody's going to have a book that called The Exiles from Earth, because who cannot keep in Earth maybe need to leave. I should not talk too much about that because it's a totally different topic. I just thought interesting that Maria bring that up. Yes, that book, exactly. And
actually, the book, it is in English because there is this is the author.
Yes, that's true. It's a very interesting book. If you guys want to have interest to know about it, it's really interesting.
Yeah, it's very nice. Yeah. So let's, okay, Luis.
Yes, this subject may be or may seem kind of far-fetched first, but when I delved into the studies of this kind of situation, it was very important for me to understand the movements of population, of spiritual populations on Earth, the Aryan aspect of our society nowadays, that, and even in the book by Emmanuel, right? Chico Xavier, sorry, the book's called On the Way to the Light. There's a mention about these 4 races that came. When you say races, people are not talking about physical race. We're talking about the spirits that get together in the same language, the same culture, ethnics, right? And they came to Earth because they were exceedingly bad on other planet. Although they had a lot of technology, they had reached a lot of progress physically, just like it's happening nowadays on our Earth, right? So this is this kind of situation that can happen when the planet is growing spiritually, has to grow, but there is a big crowd that's hindering or holding back this country or this planet. These people will have to get out. That's why they what we call, right, the final judgment, where those people who cannot follow the tendency of a planet of spiritual growth will come to a compulsory reincarnation. And after this compulsory reincarnation, they will have to decide if they will go on, or they will be deported to another planet, usually a more primitive planet, where their morally primitive state is going to resonate with the morally primitive planet. It's a kind of mathematical thing.
It's like when we have evolution and in physical things and progression, intellectual progressions, but we don't evolve morally, or we don't have love enough, we destroy ourselves in our planet. That's what's happening here. So if we don't evolve morally, if we don't evolve spiritually as the same way we evolve physically and intellectually, we have to go to a planet that's not so evolved like the Earth. For example, the biggest thing we are going to do is to send a stone in the head of someone else, not
We want to have machine guns there.
yeah, won't have a machine guns. No, we won't have.
But at the same time, we'll bring progress to
Yeah.
this new planet, primitive planet, because
Yeah.
we'll get there with capacity of being a better engineer. You're going to make the agricultural aspect of the planet grow and think that this is a match in evolutional thing. And this
Yeah.
kind of evolutional chain happens even between among our families. You know, this is
Yeah.
very important piece of knowledge.
Yeah, because just let's think, what's the matter about evolve physically and destroy everything later? What's the matter about evolve intellectually just to be mad to one another, to destroy one another? It doesn't matter. Maybe it's better be in another planet.
Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. So that's the evolution of the planets that they say.
One day, if you have time, just delve into this kind of study that at first, as I told you, it looked far-fetched, but then I said, my God, it explains so many things. Sociologically speaking, in terms of our races, in terms of our ethnics all over the planet, very good. But it's another stuff. Okay, let's get back on track.
Yeah, very nice comments. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are interested, we can make one Saturday about the subject because it's really, really interesting. And we are living in this time now. So it's very,
Yeah.
very helpful.
Okay, so Hyacinth, yes, please.
Yeah, because there is also another thought about just this, with the changes that's coming. And those who are spiritually ready will move, and those who are not will fall back. So this is something that we could talk about.
Yep. Okay, so Hyacinth, you were the last one. Would you please read the answer?
689.
Yes, 689.
Are the human beings currently living on Earth a new creation or the improved descendants of prehistoric human beings? They are the same spirits that have come back to improve themselves in new bodies, but who are still very far from reaching perfection. The current human race that is slowly invading the Earth and replacing pre-existing humans will one day decline in number and disappear. It will be replaced by other, more perfect races that will be descendants of the present race, as civilized men and women today are derived from the wild savages of prehistoric times.
This answer is really intriguing because this is saying there is a plan out there, and no matter what, that plan will be executed, will happen.
Yes, it seems that a lot of people have been saying much the same thing.
Yep. All right, so 690, from a purely physical standpoint, are the bodies of humans today a unique creation, or are they advanced versions of the bodies of the prehistoric races? From a purely physical standpoint, are the bodies of humans today a unique creation, or are they advanced versions of the bodies of the prehistoric races? Maria. Okay, so Maria.
Oh, excuse me, I hand up, but I don't need to talk. I'm wrong.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. Any comment?
Well, it would seem to be bearing out much what we've been talking about. That that it's a question of a progression from prehistoric races.
All right. Go ahead, Luis. Thank you, Heisen.
Yes, just to remind people that Allan Kardec by this time was a researcher too. So he repeated the same question several times in different ways so that to understand if the spirit could contradict the other the other answers, right? And
That's
so many times you will gonna see that he's making the same question in a different way just to see if he can pull the leg, the spirit's leg, to see
not,
if it change. Yeah.
and also, Luis, remember Allan Kardec originally he was a creationist.
Yes, that's it.
So
He wanted to confirm the information because
exactly.
he was a creationist. Yes.
and this information
Goes
Darwin,
against.
came, they were like, living at the same time, but he published Allan Kardec published the Spirit's book before the law of evolution from Darwin. Right?
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
So he really wanted to make sure. Maria.
When the physical instrument that we need to stay here in Earth is no longer in correspondence with the progress we have already achieved, the spirits achieve, the spirits will migrate from that environment to incarnate into a higher one, and so on, until have attainment of terrestrial ranks, point in which they will leave Earth to more advanced worlds.
Advanced, yeah.
And then we will stay here, and our body will progress with our spirit's progress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So today we cannot say we have a we have people living here on Earth that is just like original being from Earth, right? Because we have migrations everywhere, people coming and going. Is like an airport, this giant airport, people coming and going from everywhere. So going to everywhere. Josie?
Just a curiosity, somebody asked Chico Xavier, how do you know if you were original from Earth or you'd come from Capella or another planet?
Yeah, that's a good one.
And his answer was, everybody who believes in reincarnation, it's not original from Earth.
It's not original from
Earth.
Earth.
And miss home.
Exactly.
So how you know if you would be here. There isn't anything wrong be here or there, but just a curiosity that he would answer like that.
Well, no, it's more than that, because it's like if you believe in reincarnation, it means that you already learned a lot of concepts, and you have lived several experiences, and so you know by heart. So there is no protest, there is no doubt that there is life after life, and there is no point on talking about this in art.
And does he mention anywhere in his writings about the angels from heaven coming down to teach men?
Yes, Luis, would you like to speak about that?
Oh, sorry. Is it a question, Art?
It's a question. Yeah, he's asking if there is anything in Kardec's writings, right?
Yes, there is, right? For example, there's a book. I will try to remember the book. I'm writing a book about this, by the way, right? And then this, but I remember there's a book from the Spiritist school of Spain. In this book, a person, a medium, received a message, a very important, interesting message of a high level. I want to say high level, people, I'm talking about just for you to have, to illustrate. just about the level of a silver birch, moral level, right? And I liked this book. And they're talking about this deported people that came to Earth. And when you understand that these deported people came to Earth, you will understand how these civilizations, like the Egyptian civilizations, the Greek civilizations, suddenly, right, sprung out from nowhere and amongst the barbarians that lived on Earth, right? And Allan Kardec called these people the Adamic races, because the symbol of Adam in the Genesis is exactly the presence of a deported spirit being born here on Earth amongst the barbarians, or the native people of Earth. Understand?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I remember once there was a TV program. There was a pool of TVs all over Brazil in 1971. I was a child, and a reporter, a Protestant pastor, asked Chico Xavier in public, said, "Look, how we don't agree with the idea of reincarnation. For example, in the Genesis book, we see that Abel killed Cain, right? And the family, the Adamic family, right, was the Adamic family the reincarnation of whom?
Mm-hmm.
Since they were the first family on Earth. And then Chico Xavier said, well, my spirit guide Emmanuel is saying here that if you go to chapter 4, verse 16 of the Genesis, there will be a time that after Cain killed Abel, right? He went to a city and there he met his wife. So how come that was the first family
The first family
on Earth?
Who else was in there?
And
Yeah.
Chico Xavier was so interesting. He said, we should study together.
Yeah, we should study together with anthropologists, psychologists, historians. But that's why the way we have to study the Bible, but not like that. Both the people applauding, yes, people clap their hands. I stand innovation when he said that. It was a very great moment.
Yeah, it was a great
But I don't know if I
moment.
answered your question, Art. If you want to continue asking more questions about this.
Excuse my voice. Were these the people that he claims came to help the people on Earth? Were they spirit people or were they reincarnated human, carnal people?
They reincarnated human, and they brought a curse with them.
Curse.
Yes, they brought a curse. And this is in some of the old civilizations. They were very different. They were very brilliant. They were very intelligent, but they carried a curse in them, the curse of being deported, kind of galactic prisoners because of the bad doing they had performed on other planets, right? So this is the way our civilization learned how to be. We learned with these guys. Maybe we are ourselves deported people. They're intelligent, but at the same time, they brought fight. They brought the war. They brought the idea of competition at any cost. Slavery. Many kinds of bad habits they brought together. And the primitive people here, we profited from that. But on the other hand, we also kind of bought the idea.
Because they thought they were superior.
Yes.
They were better than the people that lived here. And then they brought the slavery, the races, the prejudice, everything that we are trying to be away from nowadays.
Yeah, to get away from it, yes.
So these were not very angelic beings then?
No.
But higher spirituality has always a hope that things can go right. For example, Allan Kardec gave an example of this. Some people had been very bad, have had that very bad behavior in France, and they were deported to an island called, I think, New Caledonia, things like this, New Caledonia. Something. And the New Caledonia, there was a document, and Allan Kardec printed this document out, and he put out this document in his magazine. And in this document, it said, look, the captain was saying to the people who were deported, well, you did wrong here in France, but now, or in France, I don't know if it was in France or in Scotland, and now you're going to this island, and this is going to be your chance to recover your reputation by treating the primitive people there well, by doing good to people who live there. But of course, some of the people who did this came back to their native countries soon, but some others stayed, just like some deported people are still here on Earth, and they are very intelligent, and they make wars, and they make lots of very fancy and sophisticated equipment to kill people. And they get on being complicated, the situation. Hey, Sing.
Can I just say one thing, just because it's completely you, Luis? Sorry,
Okay.
Haising.
All right.
Art, the fact that you have development, technology development, and mental development doesn't mean you have moral development. Or, you know, you can be very smart, you can be a genius. We were talking about that yesterday, right, Luis? And you'll be moral very lack and not really a good person. So one thing is not related to another one.
Yeah, and I would like to also make a comment, just, you know, to illustrate a little bit what Luis was talking about. There is this cavern in France, in South France. The name is Lascaux, and all this prehistoric paintings that you see is actually considered state of art, because given the perfection. But it was made by prehistoric men. Like, I think Lascaux is almost 3,000 years old. And, but recently, and only recently, the scientists, they realized that actually this is not about painting. This is an illustration. This is that man, the man of that time, putting marks on the walls of that cavern about the stars. This is the constellation. They were representing their constellation so they could mark on time all the seasons. And but the perfection that was achieved in this is something that really you cannot understand how a prehistoric mind can achieve that without knowing that perhaps that mind was of a spirit that actually came from another civilization, much more advanced civilization, and now is living in this new experience in a prehistoric body. So it's really unique. If you have the chance to see those paintings, and the documentary is talking about all the complexity of those paintings, makes one wonder, you know, to think about. Sorry, Haising.
No, the Lascaux caves, yes, they're very, very famous when they discovered them. But they're discovering cave paintings all over the place now. And yes.
Everywhere.
Yes. But Louis, something I must tell you, you know, me and my discussions with priests, I asked just that. If when there were 4 people in the world, there was a murder. Okay, that tells you about human nature. Okay. But then Cain, having killed Abel, went to another country, another land, to find a wife. So who were those people where he found a wife? Well, I was told, well, you see, in those days, they married their cousins. And I said, I'm sorry. He went to a different country, a different land. So you see, I have my doubts about the timeline of the Genesis story. because these Lascaux paintings are much older than 5,000, 6,000 years.
Absolutely. Mhm.
Yeah, they are symbolic, just to complete, it's a symbolic, and the killing is
Yes.
exactly the first effects of deported people on earth, right? It was a killing not because of he was hungry, because he was primitive. It was a killing for other reasons, more smart and quotation marks reasons, right? So these are deported people ruling on earth. And do you remember that book by Carl Sagan, the NASA astrophysicist, called The Dragons of Eden? That book speaks a lot about this. Well, of course, with no intention, because he was atheist and materialist. But that book speaks a lot about this kind of, they found holes in skulls and primitive skulls, and those holes were provoked by a kind of different kind of people who were trying to rule over more primitive guys. And, you know, this is something that was work that came from the primitive, the exiled people. And that's why in the Bible said, from some moment on, women had to labor in pain because the people's heads were bigger. Why were they bigger? The deported people needed a bigger brain to survive here. And well, you're gonna link a lot. It's a very interesting.
Oh yes, it's a very.
That's a new one. That's a new one, Louis. I understood that because she had eaten of the fruit.
That's it.
That was why she was going to be punished.
Mm-hmm. That's it. And the fruit, what is this fruit? Intelligence without love.
Without love, exactly.
Interesting.
No, that's why it's regarded as a sin. Be fruitful and is regarded as a sin. Don't forget that.
Yes, okay, yeah, but the sin is the knowledge, right? Yeah, from the life of the tree of life, right?
The tree of life, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Gloria, sorry.
This discussion is fascinating, and some of these things I haven't heard before, and several things came up for me. When Josie was talking about, we've advanced in some areas, but not morally. I was thinking about the message in the Astral City movie where the doctor was a very good surgeon or whatever, but he didn't have heart. That so much of what's going on in the world, I have very, very good neighbors who, give to charity and everything, and they'll turn right around and Black Lives Matter, or they burn their NFL gear because they didn't think it was right to take a knee at games, stuff like that. I don't know, it's this mix is just, and then that slide you showed before we got into the lessons where we are a planet where they send like the prisoners. And I was thinking about Australia was where they sent the prisoners, and here our whole planet is where they're sending these people. It's like, this is a whole new concept to me. And I really appreciated Art's question, because I guess my question is, do Chico and Allan Kardec, do they agree about this, that we're in their writings, do they say, yes, we're where you dump the losers?
Chico himself said he was one of them.
He was one of them.
Yeah.
Chico? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Oh. I can't tell all of us. If you're here talking about reincarnation and study all the spiritual, all of us.
He had been a general involved in a world war in another planet.
In the chapel. It was chapel. It was that planet.
He's right, planet. 7,000 years looking at trying to fight for the good on earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
These things explain so much, and you know how sometimes when you hear something, it just feels true. So I'm for the first time and I'm blown away. So thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
and I agree. If we could have a
Perfect.
session where we just talk about this, it's very interesting.
When I heard
Yes,
about Chico Xavier being involved in the situation, everything made sense because Chico Xavier was involved with a lot of military spirits. I didn't know why. Why is that? Right? Vladimir knows this, everybody here. The Chico Xavier had psychographed a lot from a lot of people who were military people from the old times, even Hannibal. You know, it's incredible. Being the spiritist is funny because Hannibal lived here in my neighborhood, according to Chico Xavier. And I say, why is Chico Xavier so involved with this very, military-like people? And now I could understand he was involved 7,000 years ago or so on another planet, and why, and because of this world war that happened, he was kind of, exiled to this planet. And there was one guy, one big spirit that put everybody together and made a promise to them. This spirit, according to Chico, was Jesus Christ, and said, I'll go, and you'll go. I know it's a very tough situation, but one day I'll be personally there to rescue again. And that's why Jesus Christ used to say, I came first for the lost sheep of Israel. These were the lost sheep of Israel. I came to rescue them as a promise. This is my promise first. And then humanity, of course, will profit from my work. Beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, Louis, the Hannibal is the same as the Roman Hannibal?
Yeah, the guy who defeated some.
Yeah. Josie?
I would like to bring another perspective as well. We don't need to think about punishment. It's more like the same you're in school, okay? We have first, second, third grade, whatever, because in Brazil it's different grades, but think about, pretend we are in a school and the school, for some reason, it's become a better school. Like this school is gonna have only 30 grades, not 2 and first one anymore. And if you don't pass to the 30 grade, you cannot belong to that school anymore because you don't fit anymore. And then you need to go to another place. So if you think about physica quantica,
Quantum physics.
Quantical physics, we are our feelings and our thoughts. And that's how we build around us our quantical field, right? And when a planet go to a next stage, you need to be able to have a quantical field that belongs to that planet. And if they are planning to go to a place that people are better, people have more moral, more principle, and you inside yourself, you don't have those, you don't match anymore. You cannot stay there.
Yeah.
So it's not only sin or punishment, it's about physics, it's about science.
It's about
you cannot match its frequency.
Yeah,
so it's so much involved, and it's a lot. And only one more thing, Anna. Art, it's very interesting. Allan Kardec talking about the planets and the evolution of a planet when it started from the primitive to the happy world. We can bring that one day because it's a very, very interesting. You study how everything evolves, everything keep going, and depend on yourself. Nobody punish you. It's yourself. If you don't do your best to keep going, unfortunately, maybe you need to go a little back and keep going again because you need to do for yourself. It's your inner change. And only you can change your feelings and your thoughts. Nobody can do that for you.
Yeah. This topic is really, really
we're gonna be here all day.
Yeah, and we can separate one of those meetings to talk about the, like Joseph was saying, the evolution of the worlds and how they are classified, and really is everything is based on affinity and where exactly you fit based on your moral values, based on your ethics, right? So
it's your feelings and your thoughts, what you emanate from yourself, right?
Yeah. Thank you, Josie. Maria.
Oh yes, I want to talk about the classified words.
Classification of the world.
Classification of Allan Kardec did in the Gospel According to Spiritism about the planets, the worlds.
Mhm.
He classified the hierarchies of the words, which are primitive words, were destined from the first incarnation of the soul. It's very important to talk about it because in primitive words, we are beginning to develop the talents we will have one day.
The first
And
incarnations in the primitive.
Yes, yes. And the first incarnations occur in primitive words.
Mhm.
Yes, where existence is all material and the passions rate supreme. Moral life being almost null.
Oh,
We
okay,
are-
so we are so related to material
We are
reality.
instinctive. It's very
Yes.
instinctive. but-
Yes. Words of provas and atonements where evil
Trial and
dominates.
atonement. Mhm.
Okay, what?
So trial and so then we moved from primitive to trial and atonement world where
Yes, yes.
evil is still predominant, right?
Yes, where
But we are
the
today.
where the evil dominates, and from which we have been living since that
Since-
19th century, when Allan Kardec becomes to write your books with the Spiritism phenomena. Is the end of this period, and we began to go to regeneration worlds.
Yeah.
In each souls that still have something to atone for draw, new straight, resting from the fatigues of the struggle, which we are entering today. We have more than 1 century that we are coming to regeneration time.
Say not we are in regeneration. I would say we are in the transition.
Transition.
No.
Yeah.
We can read in the Genesis that the time, the beginning of regeneration
Mhm.
is on.
Oh, wow.
And when Kardec writes the codification, we have many times in these books that we are in regeneration time. We began in regeneration
Yeah, we
time.
began. Mhm.
Since Allan Kardec codified the spiritism. Yes,
Since Allan
it's the
Kardec
beginning.
codified?
Yes, it's the beginning of the time regeneration. I can show for all in the next class about it. And we have blissful words where good overcomes with evil.
Mhm.
After regeneration words, and we have
that's the
celestial.
third.
Yes, and we
So-
have celestial or divine words, where spirits are only good radiance.
Mhm.
But I'm surprised, Josephine, when I read about the regeneration times in the Kardec's books.
Mhm.
But really, we are.
But makes sense. No, you say now makes sense. Mhm.
Yeah, just to remind us, this classification, this rank, Allan Kardec said is relative, of course. It's just a didactic situation, right?
Yeah.
It's not something that, just like as a matter of a transition, you can understand that when something starts a transition, you are already going into the regeneration field. Some people interpret in another way, say that only after the transition we'll be able to say that we are in regeneration, but it's not a matter of words again, right? No
Mhm.
problem.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Luis. Art.
I was going to say, from the people who have had NDEs, we find that judgment is self-judgment. They get a run through of their life history, and then they judge themselves as to what they need to do to improve. The judgment does not come from outside.
Yep, exactly. Yes, there is no one actually punishing. Yeah, it's
That's as I understand it. You are judging yourself,
exactly.
but your conscience is so pure that you pick up on the smallest thing.
Yeah.
And
Remember,
that you see again the situations that your thoughts, words, and actions had, and you see how it affected people. And you would like to say you're sorry, but they ain't there for you to say sorry. That's your punishment.
yeah. And remember, when we started reading this book in the divine laws, or the nature of law, law of nature, it was one of the very first things that it was said in this book, that those laws, they are imprinted. Once we are created from God, we have that in our consciousness somewhere, somehow. We know that. So we have a
there is
reference.
no worse punishment than your own conscience when you feel that's what it's so individual, personal, and internal change. Nobody, you need to do it.
Yep. So we are reading the 690. Okay, so Art, you were the last one. Would you please read the answer for us?
690.
Yes.
From a purely physical standpoint, are the bodies of humans today a unique creation, or are they advanced versions of the bodies of the prehistoric race? The origin of the various human races is lost in the night of time. However, as they all belong to the human family, they have formed alliances with one another and produced new types, regardless of the prehistoric root of each.
That's exactly what Maria was saying first time. So 691 from thank you, Art. From physical standpoint, what are the unique and dominant characteristics of prehistoric races? So I think I would just go ahead and read the answer. So from a physical standpoint, what are the unique and dominant characteristics of prehistoric races? They are characterized by the development of physical power to the detriment of intellectual power. Right now, the opposite occurs. Human beings act through their intelligence rather than through their bodily strength and accomplish 100-fold more than they did in the past because they have learned to leverage the forces of nature, which animals cannot do. So it's common sense, right? Does using science to improve vegetables and animals contradict the law of nature? Would it be more compliant with that law to allow them to follow their natural course? This is a very interesting question, because we are talking about changing DNA stuff and manipulating DNA. But at that time, there was no DNA manipulation, right? Genetics manipulation. So we have to consider that. So Maria, you raise your hand. You're on mute.
Okay, sorry. And the progress of science has brought many benefits of humanity and would have produced only benefits if earthly humanity had not been so backward. For
Backwards.
example, nuclear energy could have been used for proposed orders. Then the bomb, the nuclear bomb. The man in the earth is so egoistic.
Selfish.
Yes, that many things that the science can prove, they don't use as good things. They produce many things that the humanity can superar, how I can say.
Overcome.
Yes, overcome. If you talk about the pharmaceutical science, many diseases are improved
because of scientific
Yes.
advancements. Yes, I
Yes.
agree. So science is science, nature is nature. It's not a matter of the resources. The resources, they're not evil, is the purpose, the intentions for, right? That we use those resources. That's what it is. Thank you, Maria. Josie?
Yeah, I just want to add what Maria, I was going to say very similar, but that's where we see technology. High technology doesn't mean you have high principle moral. That is so important. Everybody develop their moral, be a good person, have good intentions, because we know this technology that came from God, came from the universe. If it didn't, we would not have them, but it's how we use them. It's more like what we do with that, that tool.
The intentions behind the use. Hi, Sid.
I agree absolutely, Josie. The moral standards now is appalling. But I laugh at myself, Anna, because I refuse to eat grapes without seeds, and my grapefruits and tangerines must also have seeds.
Okay. Thank you, Heisen. So would you please read the answer for us?
692.
Yes.
Does using science to improve vegetables and animals contradict the law of nature? Would it be more compliant with that law to allow them to follow their natural course? All beings must contribute to the general progress, all beings must contribute to help general progress move forward in every way possible. God employs the human race as instruments for the perfection that is the goal of everything in nature. The act of assisting in this process of improvement is the way in which humanity can participate in carrying out divine plans.
Yeah. Would you please read the following one, because it's the last one. It's just a continuation.
In their efforts to improve various species, humans are normally motivated by self-interest and have no goal other than increasing their own personal happiness. Does this not diminish the merit of their actions? What does it matter if their merit is insignificant, as long as progress is accomplished? It is up to them to make their labor admirable by their intention. Nevertheless, these improvements help human beings develop their intelligence and derive the greatest value from their efforts. So I should eat my grapes without seeds. No, sorry.
Let's put this way. You live according to your consciousness. If you believe it's not a good thing, it's not going to do any harm to anyone. So live according to your consciousness, and then you'll be okay. Any other comments? All
So-
right,
So we are assisting in the process of improvement.
yes.
Yeah.
That's what we do in the process of improvement, but the what is expected from us is really that progress to serve good, to serve people, right? So the same atomic bomb, the same radiation that killed so many people also cured lots and lots of people with cancer later on, right? So it's not about the progress, but what we do with what we created. So that's exactly how they are saying. In that way, we are actually participating in carrying out divine plans.
Anna, sorry. Now, before you go, I think there are two beginners here today, aren't they?
Yeah, I was about to talk to them because I think they are here for the mechanics of mediumship group. And
We have to stop sharing, then we can see them.
Oh, yeah. So so Marcella and Ludmila, I guess they are interested in the mechanics of mediumship and in the mediumship group. And those Marcella and Ludmila, that group will be on May 7th, 3 o'clock here in CST, Central Time.
Could they show their faces so we see them?
Yeah, and you are more than welcome to participate in this group, the Spirits Book Study as well.
Yeah, which is an open group too, because it's in, yes, there she is.
Nice to meet you.
Marcella. Nice
Hello,
meeting you, Marcella. Welcome.
Marcela.
Nice to meet you. Oh,
Where are you from, Marcela?
I'm living in Visalia, California right now, but I'm from Brazil.
Okay,
Welcome.
yeah, welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is
Ludmila-
yeah. Go ahead.
Ludmila Gutierrez, by the name, it's surely a Saxon person. Yeah. Ludmila
also Brazilian.
Gutierrez.
She's Brazilian as well.
She's
Yeah,
Brazilian as well.
imagine.
Well, there's Vladimir and Ludmila.
Yeah, look.
Wow, yeah. The family is growing here.
Yes, the Slav family is growing. Yeah.
Well, as you see, Marcela, as you can see, we have a lot of fun. This group is really nice. It's really dear to my heart, but I'm pretty sure to everybody. So you're more than welcome to participate in every Saturday. We start our meetings on by 3 p.m. Central Time. Today we have the books, the Spirits Book Study, but on the next Saturday is going to be the mechanics of mediumship.
Oh, okay.
By the way, Annie and Carol have been so shut up these days, haven't they?
Oh, yeah.
Nana, did you tell them about we are going to change a little bit the mediumship?
Yes.
Yes,
Sorry,
yes,
I was
yes.
a little late today. I'm so sorry. Great.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to stop recording.